like I was saying about that solar phallic energy, that light that's concentrated, that travels up. Okay? Hear me out, alright? I'm not fucking bullshitting. And what is the heart, aka Earth, aka the moon center connected to the chakra? You have to remember the heart is connected to the moon. What did I say about the moon? The heart is the neutral center, the neuron, the gatekeeper of the crossroad, the SU, okay? The SU of the body, all right? Remember, it's an energy signature that we're connected to inside of us and outside of us. Nothing is separate here, okay? Now, what's that positive center in the body? What's that positive center in the body? The gut, the stomach, the sacred flame. It's the enforcer. It's that Mars energy. That's why your diet is so fucking important. That's why when you eat food or you experiment in the physical scene world, the matter, material world, you can eat food and heal yourself. This is why the body is a self-healing process. And that is why healing, holy, heart, all start with H, the 8th letter. Who is the Lord of the 8? Tehuti, Thoth, who is also connected to the age of Aquarius. Raphael, the archangel, who does what? Healing. And what's that? That heart center, that vortex, that's the gatekeeper, the great neutralizer, the great balancer. If you want to look at it, it's the bridge between hell and heaven. It's the bridge between the magnetic and the electric. It's the neuron between the electron and the proton, creating the atom. The completed man, making the atom. You get me? Are you following along? Do you understand? Do y'all understand? You following along? Please tell me y'all getting this. Please let me know if y'all understanding. I need to know. Okay? Then nothing is separate with this shit, okay? Like I was just saying, what you eat controls and helps boost the vibrational frequency because food is electric. Yes, it's part of that electric, that electron, the brain, which is why the body is a self-healing mechanism, which is why you are what you eat, which is why the heart is the gatekeeper, the great neutralizer, the bridge of sorts in between worlds, which is why the mind is not the brain. The brain is physical. The mind is what? Source, spirit, the unseen world, the unseen forces connecting us all together, emitting and projecting out the ether, the 5th element. Remember, the pictures correlate with what's going on here. Okay, we're going to talk about how you're a star. Right there, I have a picture of the Insof, the Sephiroth, the birth of a star, the birth of a cell, and the 7 heavens. All right, you're going to get this shit today. Because why? The heart, mind, reproductive system is the balancer, the generator, the producer of pure etheric energy, the 5th element, the true 5th element that joins all things together in the above and the below, in the inside and the outside, okay? Which is why I say you are Allah, the arm, leg, arm, head. You are a star, a Merkaba, working to awaken yourself, which is why you have words like what? Sis star, Miss star, Monstar, okay? The man, the woman is the star bound to a body. We are all fallen angles of light, trapped in the meat suit, in the flesh, okay? You're an angle of light. What is a daemon? An ancient primordial being created in darkness, an angle of darkness. That's why you have 72 portions of your left, 72 primordial planes of your right. That's why hemisync is so important. You have 2 hemispheres in the brain, the 72 keys of Solomon, and the higher angels, and the 72 goadic demons are the 72 angles of light and darkness in which we fell from. We are stars. Remember, this up top, that's the 7th heavens. Those are the stars. That's us. That's us falling to earth, okay? And I'm going to leave you with a little bone just to ponder on. Holy starts with H. Heart starts with H. Healing starts with H. H is what in the alphabet? The 8th letter. Who is Lord of the 8? Like I was teaching y'all. Thoth. What is Thoth? Your thought, your mind, And we're in the year of the 8, in the age of Aquarius. Who is the archangel associated with Aquarius? Raphael. What is Raphael's color? Green. What does Raphael do? He heals, he protects, he's associated with magic and wisdom and astrology. In the year of the dragon.
Salamanders, because they're highly regenerative, he was able to take their hearts out, regenerate their heart from scratch. He did the same thing with their brain, with limbs. One of the interesting things that came out of his research, two things. One is that he was able to anesthetize his animals just using a magnet. He used a high Gauss, 2000 Gauss magnet and put the salamanders to sleep before he amputated or took their heart out. Limb regeneration, all the basics of how it happens in mammals, he laid out in a series of about 6 papers in the 1960s. You can regenerate the tip of humans' fingers. It's the only part where our regenerative potential still is there. We can't do a whole arm like a salamander, but it has to do with the semiconductive circuits in the body. So it turns out the guy that did the work in the 1960s was Robert O. Becker. He proved that bone, human bone, is a P-type semiconductor. Apatite, hydroxyapatite, is an N-type semiconductor. When you put a current through it, you guess what color light you make? Brown, red light. In other words, bone is a diode. What's the name that, Rick, you and I know? LED. It's exactly the same. That's the first time ever in the published literature that we know that it's in there. Well, why did I learn about this?
So bone is a light-emitting diode.
Correct. And here's the interesting part. 2 copper ions sit in there to rectify the current. Guess whose papers did that? Becker's. And I want you to look at me when I talk to you about this. Do you understand how important this really is? The nerve is a big part of this regeneration process in his papers. He found that the DC electric current runs right underneath the myelin of a nerve, and it's imperative to drive the regeneration process. So I started putting this all together, and I'm going, wait a minute. If collagen is the N-type semiconductor, and collagen is carbon-based, then I said, I need to start looking this whole semiconductor thing. And I said, what the hell is a semiconductor in the eye? And then I started to think about the things I learned from Becker and the things I learned from physics, meaning the Silicon Valley guys, about the band gap conduction of light and optics. Everything based on color is a semiconductive thing. Da Vinci didn't paint a lot of paintings, but the one he painted of St. John the Baptist, where he looks very bizarre, and if you see it in the Louvre today, you notice that it's very dark. The painting wasn't originally that color. He used cadmium yellow to mix it. Then he added cadmium selenium, and it changed the color to red. But over time, over the 500 years, the way all 3 of us see it today, it's as dark as this microphone. So when you go see it at the Louvre, you look at it and you go, why would he have painted this? This is such a beautiful painting of this. And it's such a dark background. And I realized that's not what he did. The atoms in the paint were the key.
They oxidated?
Yes. And the interesting thing is when atoms change their oxidation state, that actually changed their magnetic footprint. And when it changes your magnetic footprint, it changes the way you work with light. Light changes the charge density of semiconductive proteins in the eye. So we create our own light show. And then I figured out immediately, as soon as I put that together, why Schrodinger wrote what he wrote in his book, that we're a negative entropy organism. We only use atoms 1 to 53 on the periodic table. We don't use any atom heavier than iodine. But within 1 to 53, we don't use all of them. We only use like 26. But there's some that we use all the time, in potassium, magnesium, calcium, and they're big in places where big things happen in biology. The other side of the story was I looked at, because of Albert St. Georgi, I looked at proteins. You know that humans, we have DNA. DNA only has 20 proteins. DNA only codes for proteins. Then it dawned on me, DNA only codes for semiconductors. I found out there was 500 amino acids actually out there, but life only uses 20. And in those 20, what was the most special ones? Turned out it was methionine and tryptophan. Do you know why? One codon in DNA. Only one codon. It turns out anytime you make a protein in your body, methionine is the start signal. Tryptophan is all the key semiconductor proteins in your eye. If photosynthesis is blocked, all of us are pretty smart guys. You know that the terminal electron acceptor for mitochondria in the two animals that made it through, which was theropod dinosaurs and mammals, is oxygen. What makes oxygen? The tree outside, right? So if that was interrupted, how could you make it through? I gave you the answer about birds. They were able to pick up where the fires weren't, where there was still food, fly to it. But those little creatures in the ground that are our ancestors,
Make their own light.
yeah, every time a cell undergoes mitosis in the cell cycle, you have to have UV light. Mammals lived in a planet in the beginning at the KT event where there was no UV light. Where does melanin come from? Neuroectoderm, right?
We have insect biology and what is the equivalent of frog melanophores in our eyes.
You know what else is important about insects? They see UV light. That's how they know to bite you, because you emit it. And ultra weak UV light is what stimulates mitosis in all cells. Okay? That means mammals are neuroplastic in their neuroectoderm. And what does that mean? That means cell migration in the body in mammals is possible. So mammals lived in a world 65 million years ago that had no UV light. They were able to take their melanocytes and put them inside themselves. We have three types of melanin: eumelanin, pheomelanin, and neuromelanin. How the semiconductor is doped. One uses nitrogen, the other one uses sulfur, and the other one uses phosphorus. Anything that's dark, okay, what does that mean? It absorbs all frequencies of light, not visible light, from RF to cosmic radiation on the planet 4.6 billion years ago. Inside the human cochlea, which is shaped as a spiral, is what? Melanin. Everybody thinks in neurology that we hear the way they think we hear. I'm going to tell you that you hear light, and we transmit the light into sound. And it turns out this is the reason why gentamicin causes hearing loss. In fact, I looked at what Einstein really found, and he said, well, obviously, it's only electrons are excited by light, so that's part of the story, and it's not every part of light that the photoelectric effect works on.